Good morning. Scott Campbell, Christian pastor in French Quebec, and I'm in the middle of a kind of a short series on what I called in French the fundamental ensemble that existed from the beginning of time because God created it. He made us in his image, the triune God. He says, let us make man or people in our image. And then it says he made them male and female. And we saw in Genesis 1 and 2 that this team created by God was to play the crucial role in this world. Not only do they fully at the time reflect God's image, but they were given two mandates. They were given the mandate to populate the earth with God's image, right? Because as they had children, they would further then propagate the image of God throughout this world. And they were also given the mandate to govern the earth, to rule the earth. Didn't mean ruin the earth. It surely didn't mean uh, abuse the earth. It meant to govern it, to steward it. In Genesis 2, we had some precisions, that's French. We had some clarifications on Genesis 1. Genesis 1 didn't give us any time frame. When's the man made? When's the woman made? Are they made together? What Genesis 2 expands and gives us a closer look. It says that God made man, the masculine person, out of the dust of the earth. And he took this man, placed him in the garden. So he gave him a job. He made the man, he breathed into him life, gave him a job to do before the woman was ever created. But interestingly enough, we see in Genesis 2 that the first statement of how of something is not right, something's not good in the garden comes when God says it's not good for man to be alone. We talked about the fact that he wasn't really alone. He was with the Trinity. He was with all the animals. How can we say he's alone? And so we discover that aloneness is very specific. God is saying this masculine person does not have a complementary being, a teammate, a partner in this world that totally fits his personhood, his being, his character, etc., his physical makeup. He doesn't have this teammate. So God creates the teammate, right? From Adam, not from the dust, from Adam, which again shows how the two are connected. Draws out, creates a woman. The man immediately recognizes this person is made for me. We are made for each other. We fit together at every level. He saw physically, he says, bone of my bones, flesh of my flesh. But we know that men and women created by God fit together at all levels, spiritually, intellectually, emotionally, etc. And I forgot to mention that in Genesis 2, God gives this masculine person a clear uh, command. He says, though the garden belongs to you, eat anything you want, go for it, except one tree, the knowledge of good and evil. Do not eat that. Okay, so God entrusts to Adam a mandate, a command of choice. There are choices to make. He has a moral responsibility. And we're going to see how it develops in Genesis 3, which I'm talking about today. So I just wanted to recap where we've been. Unfortunately, in Genesis 3, find the term you want. It's chaos. It's catastrophic. Death. Everything about Genesis 1 and 2 shouts life, joyously cries out life, teamwork, goodness. The man's going to join with a woman. They're going to stay together forever. They have no shame. It just shouts goodness. And in Genesis 3, all the wheels come off. And there's just no way to describe the tragedy of Genesis 3. I will say this, however. Sometimes we get so focused on the tragedy, on what we call the fall, that we fail to see the overwhelming and overpowering grace of God, even in that tragedy. Let me explain. The man and the woman are together in the garden. The serpent, who in like is Satan incarnate, is tempting them. I say them because it's very clear that the man and the woman are together. She's not alone, contrary to some pictures you get on Google, and contrary to what some people seem to imply in the past, where they dumped all the blame on Eve for being tempted and giving into that temptation. The two are together. Yes, Satan is addressing Eve. She's answering back. Satan is challenging the character of God. He's challenging what God said, etc. I don't want to go deeply into this dialogue other than to say he is a deceiver. And she buys in, but not her alone. So she sees, oh, what beautiful fruit. By the way, we have no idea if it's an apple or some other fruit. So let's drop that image. It doesn't say it's an apple. Maybe it's a fruit that doesn't exist anymore, that was only in the Garden of Eden. And she buys in, oh, that looks good. Oh, it's going to make me wiser. I mean, they're already made in the image of God, and yet she's duped. They are duped into thinking, oh, going to make us wiser. She eats, she gives to the man who's next to her. Now, what's going on here? She's doing all the talking with the serpent, and he is there. There's no record of him saying anything. It appears that Adam is silent, the silent observer. He heard from God that they shouldn't eat this, and yet he is bending over and just going with the flow, saying nothing. Well, we know the result. Immediately they feel shame. They feel guilt. They feel a separation immediately from God. They want to hide. They don't want to run to him. They run away from him. Very interesting that's what sin will do. Sin drives us, pushes us away from God, and we hide and we try to cover up what we've done, which they literally tried to do. They tried to cover their nakedness. Their nakedness was this whole symbol that they were guilty and that they had disobeyed, and so they try to cover it. Here is the grace that starts. God is walking in the garden. He's calling. He's looking for them. This is a good thing. We might think he's looking for them to beat them up, to wipe them out, to start over. He's looking for them, and he wants to get on a path of reconciliation. So he calls to the man. I think that is significant. The man had heard him directly, don't eat that. We don't know whether Eve had heard directly from God or not. But he calls to the man, where are you? This is a call that comes down to each one of us. It comes down through the centuries. Where are you? Sous-entendu, underneath that, why are you hiding? What has happened? And so it comes out, obviously, what has happened. The man answers. Sometimes people see these verses as the beginning of the blame game. The man, well, the woman that you gave me. Now, it all depends the tone that Adam said that. It is very possible that he played the blame game. The woman that you gave me, gave to eat, and then the woman, of course, well, the serpent tempted me. But it's true what they say. So depending on the tone of voice, they may have said it humbly. They may have said it with shame and, oh, the woman you gave me who was good, I got on board with this, and together we went off the tracks. Regardless, God does not curse. He does not curse the man, and he does not curse the woman. Again, this is the grace of God. He wants to recuperate them. He curses the serpent, and he says, your descendants and the descendants of the woman will be at war from now on till the end of time. And hidden in that, the fact that the descendants, and some translations put it in singular, descendant of the woman, looking forward to Jesus Christ, he, as the perfect human, the second Adam, will crush the serpent's head. Yes, the serpent throughout history will bite our heel, will injure us, will bring us great pain, but he will not win. And so we see the grace of God already telling the serpent, you're in trouble. You are cursed and you're in trouble. The woman, there are results. Pain in childbirth. She's drawn to her husband. Some verses or some interpreters say that word has a sense of drawn and at the same time wanting to manipulate, wanting to control, while it says the husband will in fact dominate. And I think men and women in general. So we see this machoism will come out. We see the woman maybe trying to get the upper hand. The whole beautiful teamwork, the whole partnership has gone to pot. It's over. It's over. And voila. Now, that's how the world is. In our next talk, we'll see. We don't want to leave it that way. And then, of course, the man, the earth is cursed. Work is not going to be the joyful thing it was in the garden before the fall. And we can all attest to that. We all know what it means to get up and think, oh, Monday morning. You know what I mean? It's not always joyful. It's not easy. We have to work hard. So, but out of all of this, grace reigns supreme. God looks at this couple. He says, I'm going to clothe them. It doesn't say, but he gives them animal fur or covering from animal skins, which says to many, an animal died. There was a sacrifice. Blood was shed, the life blood, which prefigures the life blood of Jesus being shed for sin and Jesus covering us. God covers them, not with leaves, but with the skins of animals. And then the supreme act of grace is he says, you are out of here. Drives them out. Why? Why would he drive them out of the garden? Well, he says if now they eat the tree of life and live forever, they're going to live forever in a state of separation from me. And he doesn't want that. So the final gracious act of Genesis 3 is actually a pushing out. You're out of the garden. And the start of this long history of salvation and redemption, buying back, renewing relationship with the Father for those who desire it. So it's a tough chapter, but a good chapter. The final word, sin and rebellion and disobedience and Satan do not have the final word. The final word is a story of grace and coming, growing, progressive salvation for the human race.